Hi and welcome to Discovering Dataflex. Today we're going to do a delete button on a list view, and we're going to add a yes no button if you want to delete or not. And we're also going to fix a little bug in the database configuration. So without further ado, let's begin. Here's the list where I want to add the delete button. And we're going to start out with the bug because in order to delete stuff, I want to add stuff. So what I did, I'm just going to add test1, and I might put a category clothes on it and press save. Yes. And all of a sudden I get this bug, this error message here, and duplicate record not allowed. So when you get the duplicate record, there is usually an index issue, because Dataflex is really going up into the indexes and making sure that they are uniquely set up. And that's why we want to go in here into the item table, because it's an item we want to add. And we have a look at the indexes. And if you see that we have the ID, here we have name and ID. So ID is the lowest denominator. And we have ID on all of these, but we do not have it on expiry date. So we want to add an ID here as well. And just recompile this. And now if I go into our item and click test1, just set category clothes and press save, I do not get an error. So now we can add a few of those so we can play around and delete some stuff. And we could also set an expiration date. Doesn't really matter. Test 3. Save. I didn't like that. Now that's because we have a relationship with the category. So we need to add at least a category. That's also something you can configure in the database if you want that relationship to be mandatory, or if you can live without. But that's a different video. Now we're gonna go into our overview, and if we stop the debugger, we want to add a button here. So the obvious choice is to go in and pick a web column button and just drag it over here. And here we have our button. Let's call it just delete button, and the caption, which is the title of the list, just gonna call that delete. And now we could just put an X here or something, or why not write delete? But I want an icon, so I would like there to be an image instead of this styled button. So how can we do that? We can go into web buttons perhaps and see if we have some clues. If we want to add an image. Yeah, we have these CSS styles where you can set CSS class. And there is some web button icon. I think if we look for it here, we get to this page where you have all the different web button icons you can use. So, and you also want to be careful because there's one PS CSS class and one PS button CSS class. So we want the button CSS class in this case. And let's add that. And instead of the info, we wanted the, you can already see we have an icon here. We want the delete button. So there we go with the trash can. And we don't need that to be as wide. But if you scroll down and look here, you can see that this is on a different row than that one. So it's kind of very high. And that's because we still have some text here that isn't shown. So if we remove that text in the caption, everything will look great again. Now what? We want to be able to click this. So we want a procedure on click, and for good measure, forward send on click is button is row ID. And now we just don't want to delete the row, but instead we want to have this yes no button. And there is actually a yes no yes no. Yeah, here we have yes no cancel box, but this is for the Windows, and as you can see in Windows, you just move this and then you get the response here. So it's halting right here when you call this function or procedure. But in the web, we have everything in JavaScript, and that means that the execution does not halt when you show something on the screen. So it's a different approach. So we need to, I think it's called info. Yes, no. Something with info. Show. Yeah, there it is. So we have this construction instead. We could probably find a sample. You copy that. So we want to put this in here, and do you want to delete this item? Delete item. And I want to call my procedure that I want to call delete item. So let's see if we can procedure delete item. And as you saw here, we also need this parameters, e-confirm mode, because then we can use the if yes, because regardless of what you click in this yes no button, this procedure will be called. So we want to have the confirm mode CM yes. You can also have CM no and CM cancel, CM close. So you can grab all of these different events and see if someone just closes the box, then you might want to do something different. I think that's it for our event. So now we have a button, and when we click, we get this show, and we get this delete, but we also want to do one thing more. Yeah, we want to do a web publish. So we want to web publish this this delete button, because otherwise it won't um, be available in the browser. So when we click here, we won't find this procedure if we don't publish it on the web. So that's important. And now we just need to send request delete of item dd. And the reason we just can do this is because when we click on a button in a row, that row is actually selected for us and loaded into the data dictionary. So Dataflex knows which row you clicked on. So we can just say that, oh, the data dictionary from the row that you just clicked, we want to remove that. But this is only deleting it from the database and from the data dictionary. So what we want to do now is we want to refresh this grid here with some new data. And in this case, since we have all these search functionality and stuff, we can just call this this search procedure. So what we want to do here is send search of what's the name of this? Item overview. Yeah, I think that's it. So let's see how that works. If we can delete our test items, or if we want to have to do some additional fixing. You see, now we have the delete icon here. And here we have our test items. So I press delete. And if I click no, nothing happens. But if I click yes, it's deleted and the search form is updated. Delete 2 and we delete 3. So there you go. And as always, if you have any questions on how anything works or how to do specific things, don't hesitate to write a comment below or send me an email at jp@frontiot.com. And see you next week. Bye bye.